Listen up.
This just in.
All the gossip. The Rumor Report. Gossip. With Angela Yee.
It's the Rumor Report.
The Breakfast Club.
Well, opening statements were yesterday in R. Kelly's federal trial on charges of child pornography and obstruction of justice. They are alleging that he had sex with minors on numerous occasions, recorded a lot of these assaults to VHS tape, and then also paid people who knew about the recordings to keep quiet when he did face criminal charges of child pornography in 2008. This was all said as jurors started the federal trial yesterday. So prosecutors said during opening statements that R. Kelly had a dark side and kept a hidden world behind his fame and status. And the victims were as young as 14. And they said they were multiple girls hundreds of times. And so jurors are going to be shown video of R. Kelly allegedly having sex with a minor. There's one woman that they expect will testify. They said that in this footage, he repeatedly referred to his goddaughter's 14-year-old anatomy. And they're expected to see parts of 3 videotapes with R. Kelly having sexual contact with his then 14-year-old goddaughter, Jane, over the course of the trial. So they said he was a Grammy-winning superstar who was also a serial predator who had sex hundreds of times with minors and went to extraordinary lengths to cover it up. So another videotape allegedly showing child porn won't be played because they said R. Kelly and his co-defendants, Darrell McDavid and Milton Brown, allegedly covered it up, but witnesses will still testify about it.
That's another thing, too. Like, you know, when they were saying R. Kelly's team didn't want people to watch the Surviving R. Kelly doc, but what about the R. Kelly sex tape? That's been circulating for a couple decades now.
Right. Well, the girl allegedly seen in multiple child pornography tapes from the late 90s having sex with R. Kelly is, they're saying, going to be the star witness and testify and say that he had sex with her when she was 14, recorded some of their hundreds of sexual encounters. And those alleged encounters and those tapes were part of a 2008 Illinois child pornography trial in which R. Kelly was acquitted. If you guys recall when that happened, after the witness declined to take the stand. Now she's nearly 40 years old, and she's finally expected to testify. You know, this is going to be, I mean, look, according to his attorney, she wants to know why Jane is coming forward now to testify that the tapes were of her. She said for the last 22 years, she has adamantly denied that it was her in that video. Before there was any criminal investigation, she denied it. She denied it repeatedly to prosecutors. She denied it to social workers, to police officers. She denied it under oath to a grand jury.
I mean, listen, we know R. Kelly about to get sentenced crazy. He got 30 years already, right? Mm-hmm. In the other trial, right?
Yep. He's already been sentenced to 30 years.
The precedent has been set.
Right. All right. Now, Jonah Hill says that he will not promote any upcoming films so he can prioritize his mental health. He said he has spent nearly 20 years experiencing anxiety attacks, which are exacerbated by media appearances and public-facing events. So he released that in an open letter. And so he has a movie that he just finished directing, his second film. It's called Stutz, and it's about him, his therapist, and mental health. It's a documentary. So he said the whole purpose of making this film is to give therapy and the tools I've learned in therapy to a wide audience for private use through an entertaining film. Through this journey of self-discovery within the film, I have come to the understanding that I have spent nearly 20 years experiencing anxiety attacks.
Drop with the clues bombs for Jonah Hill, man. I love it. Whenever I hear stories like Jonah Hill or even Adrian Broner the other day, I don't care what people got to say about it, because if you don't understand anxiety and panic attacks, then you just simply don't understand. So to see them be like, you know what, I ain't going. Y'all been working with me for a long time. Y'all see, sometimes Charlamagne just don't show up. And those be the reasons. And to be able to express that now in 2022 and not feel no shame for it, I love it.
All right. And Meek Mill is issuing a $10 million challenge. And this is to music executives who said that his career was over. He tweeted out, and he said, if you are a corporate person that work in the music business and ever predicted Meek is over, I want to place a $10 million bet with you in contract. Label owners, A&R, CEOs, COOs, artists, I'm just finding out y'all was talking like that. Y'all said I was over at least 5 times, and I'm going to do it from an independent side. No major vibes to make effortless. This is not a joke. This is for people that fake call the shots in this music industry. They really be washed and try to place their limits on you and want you to believe it's never.
Well, I would need more information before I take a bet like that, though, because I want to know
what's considered over.
Meek considers success.
Yeah, what considered a brick.
Yeah, is it album sales? Is it the number of tickets you can sell on the road? Is it your merch sales? Like, what is considered success nowadays in the music industry?
You can't really tell. Like, if you look at Meek's Dream and Nightmares, right? That wasn't a single, but it was a record that everybody loved, took off, and it's probably in the last
cultural hit.
Yeah, 15 years. It's the biggest record in the club to this day. So you know what I mean?
Cultural hit.
Yeah, it's a hit. It's not a hit on the charts, but it's bigger than any record on the charts, in my opinion. You know.
And I mean, the industry is like sports, right? Like, folks talk about artists like sports teams. If you had seasons that were better than the seasons you are having now, folks might say, well, he doesn't sell like he used to. So that's where the he fell off talk probably comes from. But I would just simply want to know what's considered success to Meek before somebody takes that bet, you know?
All right. Well, that is your rumor report.
I do have a question, right? When you talk about anxiety, like we were talking about Adrian Broner, right? And I get it. He wasn't. We don't know why. He said his mental health wasn't right, so he canceled the fight. But now, what happens to everybody else involved in that? Is it just like F everybody else? Because you got people that paid for flights and were flying to come see him. You got promoters that put millions of dollars into this. You got, I'm sure they gave him a bag to start training. Like, so how does that work when you have it? I mean, because I get it. Yeah, if you don't feel comfortable or your mental is not right, you could say I don't want to do it. But how does that all play into everything else? Because you got people that spent their last to come see him fight and all that.
Do they find somebody else to fight to take his place?
Yes, they already did. They have somebody fighting this weekend. Figueroa's fighting. I forgot who stepped in to fight for Broner this weekend.
Because if you're a Broner
the fight
fan,
still goes on.
You want to
It's
see
just
Broner
someone
though.
else.
You know what I mean? No disrespect to the other boxers. You want to see Broner. You paid your money to see Broner or Jonah Hill. If he had something, you're paying to see Jonah Hill, not somebody else. It's just, how does that work? And I get it, but
Well, he's just talking about interviews. Jonah Hill. He's not.
All right.
Hey, man. I get all of that, but yeah, Sergey Lipinets is replacing Adrian Broner.
Okay.
But I don't think it matters. I really don't. I think in moments like that, you have to be selfish because you've pushed when you push through when you're dealing with like panic attacks and anxiety, it just makes it worse. And nobody has to deal with that except for the person that's dealing with it. So I would rather be selfish in moments like that.
But
Sorry.
Do you show up for that person
But I do
next time?
believe,
You know what I mean?
and I do believe that you gotta communicate that you're not doing something instead of just not showing up.
No, he
Yeah,
did.
but I mean, now it's easier to have those
I'm
conversations
just
now
saying in
than it
general.
was. Yeah, it's easier to have those conversations now than it was 5 years ago. Definitely 10 years ago. You know what I mean? You couldn't say that. Oh, man, I'm having a panic attack. I'm having an anxiety attack. People don't even understand what the hell you're talking about.
No, you're right.
But now, I think people understand a little bit more.
But do you show up for him next time? You know what I mean? Like it
Depends how I feel.
You might.
Depends.
All right. Well, Front Page News is next. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.